It's not enough to just hide behind technology. Having real conversations with your clients, engaging them, digging deeper, understanding who they are and what they want, that goes a long way toward keeping top of mind awareness and doing the best job you can for your clients. We've got to get a new opening. We just do. We just do. Are we actually live now? We're
actually live.
we're
Why
in the
I
show?
also like it. I like it.
I'm glad it's not you talking. That's one thing.
Well, it was our first, so we can do.
We'll do better.
We will
We'll
do
do
better.
All right. So
yeah, so let me go to over here. So yeah, the conversation that we're going to have this morning, buyers stay the course, but it was actually prompted or came into my head by that article that our agent Al sent about a couple taking matters into their own hands and going and finding a house to buy after working with a realtor for quite some time with no luck.
Did the article say, and I saw the article, did the article say anything about their agent or what the agent did or how they got the agent or anything like that?
I don't think it got into specifics on that, but it just kind of glossed over the frustration of not getting any results. And this is something I've been harping on over and over and over again, that if you, and actually this is something I've been saying since way before the pandemic. If you are signing somebody up on an exclusive right to represent, and you are even putting in there that they would have to pay some sort of commission if it wasn't, okay, you better make sure that you are now doing your fiduciary responsibility and finding every single potential property for them to purchase, turning over every single rock, which includes for sale by owners, listings that have expired, reaching out to agents in the markets in which your buyers are interested in that list regularly there to see if they have any properties coming on in the near future. Actually calling sellers. And you know what? I know there's some sort of moratorium. Well, I take that as much. They didn't enforce masks in my county. Okay. So come on and enforce. We have a housing crisis. And
they do not have the wherewithal to enforce phone calls, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
And that's meant for people who are abusively calling the same household 20 times in one day.
So
that's not
more of an anti-harassment thing.
Yeah. So I get it. But the message that we need to get out to buyers, because there are some buyers who have just given up. So
for the people out there in internet land, Al, who's, on his game, sent us this article about a couple who basically eschewed using a broker to find the home they bought, right? That's basically what they did.
Yep.
Okay. And, the media, by the way, there's 2 points of view to take with this. And the point of view that you are taking is what every broker should take, which is, if you're an agent, you should be more than breaking a sweat to find property on behalf of your buyers, right? You shouldn't just rely on automation.
The MLS is a convenience. It is not the be all end all. Like, don't be an MLS agent.
It's not the only thing out there. So now the thing that I would caution consumers about, though, is that the idea that a report will say you can do better without a professional is very, very misleading. There's a really a peculiar thing about the whole idea about the consumer smartness of saving on real estate fees. There's a peculiar thing about that. No one says, you know what? I want to fly the airline that saves the most money paying its mechanics. I want the airline that has the lowest paid mechanics. No one says, you know what? I want to live in the school district that pays its teacher and its cops the least. That's the school district or the town that I want to live in. And my sorry to bring this up so early in the morning. No one says, I want to get my vasectomy from the cheapest urologist.
See, but
Right?
I don't think these buyers are trying to save money, Phil. I think they're just trying to
That
find a
particular,
freaking
yeah, I
house.
think that particular couple probably got frustrated with either a lazy or a status quo agent. But the angle that the reportage takes is save your money. Even my friends at Inman, they've got a hard on for rebate, discount, say that with big air quotes, or lower cost than typical models. And a lot of the mainstream media loves to report on this stuff from the angle of they didn't have to use the blood-sucking middleman, right?
Well,
And you're not, and you are a blood-sucking middleman if you don't break a sweat, by the way. If you
well,
just open the door, you're
but
not
what about the
providing value.
messaging? It's us that is putting the messaging out there. Like all we've been doing, and I say we because it's not me, but I say we because it's our industry, is like, bragging about closings, bragging about, 8 million offers. And what about all those buyers that didn't get the property? Like you're bragging, but you're hurting really in essence in your messaging a bunch of people. Like, of course the media is not going to love us, right?
Well,
Everybody
there's
thinks we're getting fat and rich right now.
well, we know that we're not, because the buyer's agents have never worked harder for less for longer.
Exactly. But
All
it's the
right.
messaging.
It's bad messaging. There's no, like, what did I say a few weeks ago when the agent is like, look at my commission check. There's no doctor, there's no lawyer, there's no architect that holds up their checks. I think there's a well-earned image in society about real estate brokers, especially real estate brokers, that a profession that has very high potential earnings has such a low bar of entry. Like, people can kind of get their head around a doctor or a lawyer or an architect making bank. They really can, because you know what? They went to school for that. They got a degree for that. They spent years, decades studying for that. We took a 70-hour course, and for decades it was only a 40-hour course, but we took a 75-hour course, and now we've got the tools to ruin people's lives, right? And that is part of it. And there's this sort of like construct here where everything can be automated. We unlock the door, the MLS spits out the data, right? But in this imbalance of inventory, we have not pivoted, which is weird for us because we pivoted with the internet. We didn't get extincted by the internet, interestingly
We're
enough.
lazy. That's why
Yeah.
we have been fat and lazy for 7 years. It's been a very steady, normal market. And quite frankly, right? So I'm going to put up this banner now. Although all the forecasts have dropped a bit, they've gone from like it's going to do 13% in 2022 to roughly averaging around 9 across the board. All the sources who normally do the forecasting. So although that has dropped, appreciation is still projected to be over 20% in the next 5 years. I mean, what else can you invest in?
That's a supply and demand issue if you're a buyer. And if you're an investor, that is a good thing. But again, it's supply and demand.
Well,
we're not building enough housing.
The new formation of families is outpacing the housing market.
The housing starts. I don't even hear people talk about housing starts anymore in economic news. I don't hear it. Now, maybe I don't listen to Bloomberg or what WINS, I don't, maybe I don't listen to the business radio enough, but I just don't hear the term housing starts. California is decades behind in its housing needs. New York is every future housing development that we have here is just a bunch of McMansions.
Yeah.
They clear cut a farm and they build a bunch of McMansions for the top 5% of wage earners and regular guys. Where are regular folks going to live who need to work in New York City?
Well, Town of Carmel got their heads out of their butts finally.
What they do?
They actually are allowing mixed use on the main street, so we can have residential above commercial without.
Yeah, so people can live in an apartment. You can be in downtown. Yeah,
the younger than millennials, what are they? Gen Z.
Gen Z.
Yeah, they love that kind of stuff. I love that kind of stuff. I live where I live so that I can be right downtown.
No, you've got that same setup. You've got that good downtown walkable situation going, which is very rare, I will say, in Putnam County.
And in
But
Westchester.
they need so much more housing, and they've got to do something other than build
housing for different people at different places in life. And no, we're not talking about low income housing, but hey, while we're at it, maybe we should have some low income housing as well.
Well, there's condos, there's townhouses. They can build condos, they can build townhouses, they can build mixed use.
Cluster housing, if done correctly.
Yep.
Can really solve that problem. So I want to just switch over for a second. So there are a lot of buyers who have gotten frustrated and give up. And I'm like, you see that number? 20% appreciation projected over the next 5 years. It's not getting cheaper for you.
Yeah, and don't lose your place in line.
Right. You know what happens if you get out of line? You got to get
the back of the line. Yeah.
And here's the other thing, renters, you got to get in the game now.
Mm-hmm.
This is the time. It's not projected to get any easier or any cheaper anytime soon. And I hear it over and over and over again. Well, I just want to save more money. I just want to save more money. You don't necessarily need to save more money. You just need to get yourself in a position where you are more lendable.
Yep.
Where you are qualified. There are so many programs out there for people with not having a lot of money to put down. So, get with your favorite real estate professional who will get you with an amazing mortgage broker who will get you on a program. And I don't think I've ever met anybody that was any more than a year away from buying a home if they got on the right path.
If they got their act together, that is entirely true. Even around here, even with the numbers that we've got around here. So what a lot of people who are putting off getting into the purchase game are saying is that they want to wait for the market to level off, or they're waiting for a crash. And every so often you'll see some clickbait articles that say why there's a real estate crash coming.
Yeah, don't believe
there's no real estate crash coming. I mean, look, I don't have a crystal ball, but my chips, none of them are on a real estate crash coming, not even a correction. And here's why. Every big correction crash that has occurred since the Great Depression has been a result of bad financial management in the mortgage world. So really stupid lending practices from savings and loans by the hundreds in the 80s. Really stupid, enormous billions and billions of dollars of bad subprime paper out there in the 2000s. Okay? It's not out there right now. There is almost no subprime or non-QM or whatever they're calling it now. There's no garbage paper out there. There's no big bank failures out there. There's no big financial collapse on Wall Street or financial institutions coming out there. Yeah, inflation's a pain in the butt. But the housing market has sustained inflation. It has sustained wars. It has sustained pandemics. It has sustained. The only thing it can't sustain is financial failure on the macro level, where hundreds and dozens of financial institutions have gone insolvent. And that's not in the cards. It's just not out there. You need bad paper to have that out there, and there's no bad paper. Now, you can make a case that the student loan thing is a lot of bad paper out there, but there's not a lot of pension funds and mortgage-backed security type investments that are in student loans. And yeah, if we can print $1 trillion to bail the world out of pandemics and financial collapses will sustain the student loans. I just don't see the student loans possible forgiveness or suddenly becoming a catalyst for a financial collapse. I don't see it. I'm happy to be wrong. I'm very good at being wrong, but I don't see that happening. So what do we have? We have not enough starter homes, not enough housing overall, not enough inventory overall. We have
Lots of
rising
new
rates,
businesses, yeah.
rising prices, and people are still putting down roots and having babies and all of that. So this train keeps moving.
Yep.
This train keeps moving.
And the unemployment is low as well. Even though everybody keeps saying the whole economy is going to crash as well. That's
How?
also a good indication.
I don't see the economy crashing. We might have a mild recession, but that happens cyclically.
Well,
How many quarters have we had in a row without a recession? Like 30?
Yeah.
Like how many quarters has it been since we had a recession? Like, okay, so we're due for a recession. A recession is very different from from a big housing crash. Come on, right? So
recession's necessary to move forward, right? You got to go furlough.
I mean,
it's a cycle.
It's just part of the
cycle.
Yeah, it's part of this. It's part of the cycle. And by the way, if there is a recession, I know this brand will be fine because we're built for a flatter economy. But
and we also train our buyer agents to look under every rock.
You have to.
For finding a property.
You have to. If you're representing a buyer, you have to do what Jen said. You have to look up old expired. You have to canvass neighborhoods. You have to send out mailers. You have to knock on a few doors if it's allowed in your municipality.
Your job.
Yeah. For sale by owners. Isn't it interesting, though, that even in this market, for sale by owners list 90% of the time after they are in this for a few weeks. And a lot of them will say, yeah, you know what? Brokers don't have easy jobs. But that reporter in that story doesn't have that insight. No. They're just going to the low-hanging fruit of, the middleman. The middleman. Baloney. For every anecdotal example of someone who benefited from not using a broker, I'll show you 99 other people who, boy, they should have used a broker. Boy, they should have had a competent person representing them in the largest transaction of their lives. Boy, they should have done that. And this idea that they saved money or something, we don't know how crappy their broker was. We don't know if their buyer agent sucked or not. These are just people that managed to get themselves into a news story. We don't know if their agent sucked or not. We have fired clients, by the way, who didn't view us as anything more than a glorified door unlocker, right?
Yeah.
Make an offer 100,000 under asking in this market. Okay. Well, don't you don't recommend that? No. Why not? Well, 5 reasons, one of which is also, how about the value of our time, to which they answer, but your time's really not that valuable. They don't get it. So, we got to educate people better, and builders, municipalities, get your act together, please. Please build more houses. Yes. Please build more stuff for people.
Not being afraid of cluster housing. If it's done correctly and you preserve green space.
Yeah, it's called a community.
Yeah.
It's called a community. We have lots of them. We have lots of them around here. It works.
It works.
It works. There's common areas. It's nice. You don't have to mow your own lawn. Come on. Right? So we're sliding into the tag here. We're right at 20 minutes. Yes?
Yes. All right. Everyone have a great week. And I'll use the other video to go out.